Hello everybody, I am Keith Snow. Welcome to another episode of Harvest Eating. On today's show, we are going to be making my famous whole wheat sourdough bread. It's not very complicated. You're going to see it all happen real time. But before we get started, I want to encourage you guys to check out my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Harvest Eating. Also, make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube page. That way you get updates for new videos. Let me show you how to make a very simple and healthy bread. First things first, we have got 1 cup of warm water in here, and it's just about body temperature. You don't want that too warm. Here is 1 cup of bread flour, and this is critical. Do not use all-purpose flour. It does not have enough gluten or structure. So what you're going to do is simply dump 1 cup of that bread flour in your 1 cup of water. You're going to take a little spoon like this and stir this together, and this is what's going to be called our sponge. And a variation on this bread is to use sourdough starter in place of this sponge. But to keep it deadly simple for you guys, this sponge is just 2 ingredients. You just mix it together just like that. And now this needs to sit at least 3 hours, preferably overnight. All right, so let's get our dry ingredients into our work bowl here. We have 2 cups of bread flour, 1 cup of good quality whole wheat flour, and try to buy the best one that you can get. And then on top of that is going to go our yeast. That's 2 teaspoons of just a regular dry yeast from the store, and kind of sprinkle it over the top. 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 scant tablespoon of salt, 1 cup of lukewarm water. It's going to go right on the top. Then we're going to take 2 eggs, and these are farm fresh, beautiful yolks in these eggs. So you beat those eggs, get those into the bowl. Last but not least is the starter. Mine is sat overnight. So you take your starter, which is just your sponge, I should say, and get that sponge in there. And that's got a sour taste because it's sat out for a while. So once you get that in there, now it's very simple from here. There's not going to be any kneading. You want to distribute these ingredients very well. So once you have it pretty firmly mixed together, and you'll see that I'm kind of lifting it over on itself to make sure there's nothing at the bottom of the bowl that hasn't been mixed. And now this thing needs to sit about 2 hours or so. And what I like to do is put the oven on very warm, like maybe 110 degrees. You take this and you place that in the oven and you let this thing rise. It's going to rise depending upon conditions. It could be 2 hours, it could be 2.5 hours. You can see that this one here was made a little earlier, and this one has risen up. I'll take that off, and you can smell a very sour flavor to that. And you can see that there's all kinds of bubbles in there, and this is a live product here, and that's just what you want to see. Now we're ready to prepare the pot that we're going to bake this bread in. This is something that has to be done correctly. First of all, this is a very heavy pot. This is a cast iron pot like that. It's got an enamel on the inside. So what we're going to do to this to make sure that this bread comes out, because remember, that's a sticky dough. If you just put it in there like that, it'll never come out. Take some cooking spray and make sure that the bottom of this pot is well covered. And then you want to do the sides, because this bread is going to rise way up the side. Now you take your little parchment paper and lay it in there. You're going to unfold it, and also on top of that, come in and put a coating of your cooking spray. So a little technique here, we want to put what's called bench flour. This is our bench. This needs to be floured. So we're just going to take the bread flour that we're using and put down a copious amount of this bread flour right on the bottom, okay? And make sure that you've got a good bit on your hands. You can even sprinkle some on top of the dough, and just take your bowl and your fingers and go right in there, just like that. You can't have too much flour. And then you want to dump this sucker right out. Take some flour and cover up the top of this bread. We want this bread to rise one more time, and this is what makes this such a great bread. It has double rising. So what we're going to do is, we've got a circle shape. We're going to lift the top and pull it towards us and press down. We don't want to capture air bubbles in the dough. Now we take the back and we fold that over, and we're going to press that down, adding more flour whenever we need it. Now take the edges and fold those up, and be careful that you see these bubbles that we're pushing out. That's important. Now take this last piece, just like that, and then I'm going to take it one more time and fold it up on itself, so I've got a basic ball like this, right? And then in one fell swoop, take this dough and lay it down right in the bottom of the pot. And now this pot with the dough in there is going to go into that warm oven, about 110 degrees. Okay, check out the bread. It has risen right to the very top of the pot, and now it is ready to be baked. What we're going to do is put this in the oven, and after 30 minutes, you're going to take a look at it. If the top is getting really brown, which it should, just put a piece of tin foil over it and leave it for another 30 minutes. 1 hour total in a 400-degree preheated oven. All right, the moment we've all waited for, the finale of my whole wheat bread. Check it out. About halfway through, I put the lid on, lift it up, and there is a gorgeous loaf of bread. Let me lift it over here. And there it comes out, perfect. And it's hot, so I'm going to use my thing here and show it to you. Check out how gorgeous the bottom of that bread is, and see how evenly cooked it is all the way around. And then here's the top of it. The best way that I found to use this is to take it and toast it. It gets really brown and crunchy. It's awesome bread, and I'm so glad that I finally had a chance to show you guys how to make it. If you're watching this video on YouTube, go over to Harvest Eating. The recipe is there, and give this a try today.